This is macOS Ken.
Gearing up for Apple earnings, just about everything gets an update and premiere dates for some TV titles. It is Thursday, the 27th of January, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Kandji, device management for your Apple environment. We've heard for years that businesses that run Apple hardware have less trouble with IT, but getting new hardware up and running can still be a pain. Not with Kandji. If you've got somebody new coming into sales or somebody coming into project management, you know what apps they need. And so does Kandji, thanks to Blueprints. Blueprints let you easily assign the right apps, security controls, and automations to each device based on team, department, or location. Works great for education environments as well. Kandji can help you keep things organized so you spend less time managing devices and more time helping people. And of course, Kandji keeps that blueprint. If an app is uninstalled or a setting is changed, the Kandji agent detects it and fixes it, saving you time and trouble. Go to kandji.io/macOSKen for a free demo and trial. KANDJI, that's kandji.io/macOSKen. Find out why companies like Segment, Lacework, Allbirds, and others use Kandji for zero-touch Apple device management. KANDJI. Again, that is kandji.io/macOSKen. Your free demo and trial are waiting at kandji.io/macOSKen. Apple starts each fiscal year with a bang. That's because the first quarter of a given fiscal year for Apple corresponds to a calendar year's holiday quarter. Adding a bit of weight, for over about a decade now, the December quarter marks the first full quarter of availability for the latest round of iPhones, 2020 being a notable exception. Phones were late that year thanks to COVID-19 disruptions. Today's call should be a big call, is the point. Today is when Apple will discuss earnings and such for the December quarter. Apple Insider has laid out a few expectations. According to the piece, Wall Street is looking for Apple to report revenue of $118.3 billion, gross margins of 40.5%, and earnings per share of $1.89. While it was the first full quarter of iPhone 13 sales, other hardware will likely get a shout-out. Last quarter was the first full quarter of availability for the Apple Watch Series 7. It also saw the introduction of the 14-inch and 16-inch MacBook Pros, powered by Apple's own M1 Pro and M1 Max. Expect questions and answers regarding the supply chain. You might also listen for a number bigger than $6 billion. Back in the September quarter, says Apple Insider, Apple noted that it had missed out on $6 billion of revenue because of semiconductor constraints and supply chain problems. Heading into the December quarter, Apple advised that it expected those supply headwinds could have a larger impact. As we heard from a couple of corners on Wednesday, how Apple did last quarter is less likely to drive Apple shares in the weeks ahead than will sentiment from Apple executives. As Creative Strategy CEO Ben Beharan posted on Twitter about tech as a whole, many investors need to hear management's confidence in 2022 in order to be confident themselves. And now, we watch the clock and wait. Numbers will hit Apple's site after the close of trading at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern. The call with Apple CEO Tim Cook, Apple CFO Luca Maestri, and analysts of all stripes will start at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. You can stream it as it happens on Apple's investor site. The company will make it available as a podcast soon after. Throw a virtual rock and you will hit a Twitter mention or a blog about it. And we will hit highlights right here on Friday. Just about everything Apple makes got updates on Wednesday. Updates of the bug squishing, security fixing type. A site after my own heart, 9to5Mac, says Apple made iOS 15.3 available to users. I say it's a site after my own heart because Apple actually released both iOS and iPadOS 15.3, a point the text of the article makes clear. They only mention the iOS update in the headline, though. I assume that's because they know, as do we all, that they're really still the same operating system. But let's not argue. Apple's release notes for iOS 15.3 and, okay, fine, iPadOS 15.3 say it is a bug-squishing, security-fixing affair. Actually, they say iOS 15.3 includes bug fixes and security updates for your iPhone or your iPad in the case of iPadOS, and is recommended for all users. Probably the most prominent fix was the one tied to the IndexedDB Safari data leak issue. We talked about this one last week. What we heard then was that WebKit's implementation of a JavaScript API called IndexedDB could reveal a user's recent browsing history and even their identity. A piece from MacRumors described it, saying the bug allows any website that uses IndexedDB for client-side data storage to access the names of IndexedDB databases generated by other websites during a user's browsing session. Install this week's updates and you can change that allows to allowed. Apple security notes for the iOS iPadOS release say without the patch, a website may be able to track sensitive user information. With the patch, a cross-origin issue in the IndexedDB API was addressed, with improved input validation. While the WebKit data leaking IndexedDB thing may get the most attention, it was not the only serious flaw addressed. Apple's release notes say it's heard word that an issue tied to I/O mobile frame buffer may have been actively exploited. Unpatched, the notes say a malicious application may be able to execute arbitrary code with kernel privileges. Kernel privileges, major pain, and I believe you both know General Mayhem. At ease. If those two fixes aren't reason enough to update, iOS padOS 15.3 patches 8 more security vulnerabilities. Both updates are free. Each is available now in settings on a given iPad, iPhone, and I assume iPod Touch. Along with updates for the tablet computer and the computer in your pocket, Apple on Wednesday updated the things we all recognize as computers. 9to5Mac says Apple has released macOS 12.2 to the people. Apple's release note for this one says macOS 12.2 includes bug fixes and security updates for your Mac and is recommended for all users. 2 tweaks listed by 9to5Mac include improved scrolling in Safari with ProMotion in new MacBook Pro models that had been problematic, and the arrival of a new native Apple Music app said by the site to be smoother, faster, and more responsive. On the security side, well, with so much in common under the hood, you'll not be surprised to find that macOS 12.2 fixes the same IndexedDB issue as the iPhone iPad counterpart. It also deals with the same I/O mobile frame buffer bugaboo. And there's plenty more where that came from. Assuming you think 11 is plenty. 13 security fixes total in this one, according to a separate 9to5Mac piece. macOS 12.2 is a free update. It is available now in System Preferences on compatible Macs. For Macs that can't make the move to Monterey, updates on the security side. Apple's security page heralds the arrival of Safari 15.3 for macOS Big Sur and macOS Catalina. 4 security fixes in that, including the IndexedDB thing. In addition to the Safari update, Apple released Security Update 2022-001 Catalina on Wednesday, made for machines running macOS Catalina. Obviously, this one comes with 5 security fixes. I was surprised to not see the IndexedDB issue addressed until I remembered that that's in the Safari 15.3 update. And sticking with yield and Macs, Apple also released macOS Big Sur 11.6.3 on Wednesday. That one comes with 7 security fixes, including the possibly actively exploited I/O mobile frame buffer issue. With updates for iPad and the Mac, you may wonder what's happening with universal control. And you get to keep doing that. If you don't remember, universal control is the feature that is supposed to let one mouse and keyboard work across a number of Macs and iPads in close proximity. Around December's release of iPadOS 15.2, a piece from Mac Rumors had Apple indicating that universal control will be available this spring. 9to5Mac was kind enough to needle Apple on Wednesday, pointing out that the feature is still nowhere to be found. Next up for the updates, Apple Insider says watchOS 8.4 has made its way to the masses. Want to guess what it does? Do ya? According to Apple's release note, watchOS 8.4 includes bug fixes and important security updates. The company does note one fix in particular. According to Apple Insider, December's release of watchOS 8.3 kind of borked charging for some Apple Watch units on third-party chargers. The 8.4 release note indicates that this fixes that. Come for the charging, stay for the security patches. 8 vulnerabilities are addressed according to Apple's site, including the IndexedDB thing. watchOS 8.4 is a free update. It is available through the Watch app on an associated iPhone. To the AV room we go now, where we find updates for Apple TV and HomePods of various sorts. 9to5Mac says tvOS 15.3 and HomePod 15.3 both saw release mid-week. The only new feature spotted for either is added multi-user support on HomePod for a couple of regions. According to the report, software version 15.3 adds Siri voice recognition support for up to 6 users in a home in English in India and in Italian in Italy. This update also includes performance and stability improvements. All that and security stuff too. Apple's security site lists 9 vulnerabilities addressed in tvOS, including the IndexedDB data leaking deal. One more software update about which to tell you. Earlier this week, Apple released a firmware update for some of its non-Apple hardware. Kind of non-Apple. Cult of Mac says the company updated the firmware for its Beats Studio Buds. New features include instant pairing over iCloud. Just like AirPods, updated Beats Studio Buds will find and instantly pair with Apple devices rather than having to be paired to each individually. There's a new battery status indicator. Bring your Beats Studio Buds case near your iPhone or iPad and it'll pop up a notification letting you know how much charge you have. Again, just like AirPods. And there's a new volume control. Users can control volume using the B button built into the buds after a bit of configuration. Also like AirPods, users cannot force the update. It'll come when it comes, and oh, what a time that'll be. More news in a moment, but first a word from BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. If there is something keeping you from achieving your goals or something interfering with your happiness, there is something you can do about it. Talk to your own licensed professional therapist through BetterHelp, sponsor of today's show. I've looked for counselors the old way, and it's tough. You got to find somebody near you, you got to spill your guts a few times, then you get to figure out whether they are the right person for you. BetterHelp makes all of that better. Answer a few questions and BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist based on those needs. It's all online, so you can find the right counselor whether they're down the street or 1,000 miles away. I mostly worked with my BetterHelp counselor via text and the occasional phone call. You and your therapist connect in a safe and private online environment, whatever way works best for you. You get the same protections you would headed to somebody's office, you get the same confidentiality, and you get help. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting today's sponsor at betterhelp.com/macOSken. That's HELP, betterhelp.com/macOSken. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP, betterhelp.com/macOSken. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. We end the day, as we often do, with talk of Apple TV+. If you like celebrity voices and animation, you're in luck. Or you will be this summer. A piece from Apple Insider says Luck, the first full-length feature from the Skydance Animation Apple TV Plus partnership, has a release date. A piece from The Hollywood Reporter described the film about a year ago, saying, Luck centers around the unluckiest girl in the world who, after stumbling upon the never-before-seen world of good and bad luck, must join together with magical creatures to uncover a force more powerful than even luck itself. Voice talent to include Eva Noblezada, Whoopi Goldberg, Simon Pegg, Jane Fonda, and others. Luck hits Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 5th of August. Between now and then, you can make stuff up in your head since there's no trailer or anything like that. A long-anticipated epic series hits Apple TV Plus in a couple of months. The Cupertino streamer issued a press release Wednesday announcing a premiere date for Pachinko. Told in English, Japanese, and Korean, the release says the story begins with a forbidden love and crescendos in a sweeping saga that journeys between Korea, Japan, and America to tell an unforgettable story of war and peace, love and loss, triumph and reckoning. We first heard about this series nearly 3 years ago, before Apple even announced Apple TV+. Back then, a piece from Mac Rumors described the book on which the series is based, saying it covers the lives of 4 generations of a poor Korean immigrant family as they migrate to and establish a life in Japan. Apple says the first 3 episodes will debut globally on Friday, the 25th of March. Those will be followed by new weekly installments each Friday during its 8-episode season, ending on the 29th of April. And finally today, whatever you're doing, stop it right now and look under your seat. You get an award, and you get an award. And Apple TV Plus has been nominated for more awards. Apple Insider says the Cupertino company has been nominated for a few DGA Awards, given out by the Directors Guild of America, or DGA. The awards honor directors for their directorial achievement. That is seriously from the DGA website. In fairness, though, they're not writers. The organization has nominated Apple in the TV and commercial categories. Well, in the Ted Lasso and commercial categories. According to Apple Insider, there are 3 nominations for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Comedy for the Apple TV Plus show Ted Lasso. These include M.J. Delaney, who directed No Weddings and a Funeral, Erica Dunton, who directed Rainbow, and Sam Jones, who directed Beard After Hours. On the commercial side, Catherine Bigelow was nominated for the iPhone 13 Pro commercial called Hollywood in Your Pocket, according to the report, And Ian Pond's Jewel was nominated for the Apple Watch commercials, ECG, Sleep, and Apple Watch. DGA Award winners will be announced on Saturday, the 12th of March. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Kandji, device management for your Apple environment. Learn more at kandji.io/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.